Ever been listening to your favorite podcast and think, hey, I want to start my own? Then you need Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, everyone's favorite word, free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
While Loriana thought she'd made progress on discerning the people in her life, nothing prepared her for the untimely news she's hit with. People show their true colors, forcing her to cut someone off. She finds herself in a whirlwind of emotions, trying to make amends with the man she loves most, as Projexs shuts down all advances between them, but only for so long with Loriana's persistent effort to win him back. Trying his best to remember how far he's come, Projects makes a decision that'll indeed cause drama between his family and in his life. Never having been the one to take his L's in stride, Projects gives Loriana a taste of the person she met years ago. It was clear the love they shared had wavered, but her loyalty had. In his eyes, there was no coming back from what she'd done, and Project made it very clear where their relationship stood. The balance this group of young adults struggles to find makes their lessons learned much more worth it. Not everyone is meant to stick around in your life, but how could they not when they were destined to be there? In this finale, Project and Loriana's hearts are tested beyond what they could imagine. Their love is one the hood raved about and missed, but could they withstand all the turmoil that comes along with it? Or that came along with it? Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back to the Bibliophile's Bookcase. And we are here for part 3 of From the Hood with Love. And actually, I'm also going to stick in the Christmas book as well, because that doesn't really need like a full episode. Okay, so real quick before I jump to the story, let me tell y'all something. So I bought these like pads. What are they called? Like acoustic pads for the walls where you could stick on that would make your room almost like a studio. You know what I mean? Like given very much hustle and flow. So I bought them. I bought the glue to stick on the back of them to put it on the wall or whatever. So the directions said that I had to soak these things in water so they could puff out, because when they come, they're like flat, real flat. So for it to puff out how it's supposed to, I'm supposed to sit it in water for 3 to 5 minutes and then like either stick it in the dryer or with a hair dryer, blow them out or whatever. So I did all that. And then when it's time to stick on the wall, like the little stickies that was on the back of these things, like they're still on my wall. I'm looking at them right now, but the little pad things would not stick, so I have to send them back, and I'm pissed because I was just like, oh, I know I'm about to be official. Ain't gonna be no more of no noise in the background except for what you can hear from me. It's gonna be sounding real professional, and it's like ain't none of that, and I'm pissed about it. So I gotta ship them things back. I was just like, damn. So you can still hear the conversation outside my door. You still gonna hear doors open and closing, all that stuff. I tried, but we still niggified over here. So let's go. So the thing about this book, I did enjoy it, but I didn't at the same time. And that's how you know somebody's a good writer, because they get emotions out of you. So the majority of this book is Loriana and Projects being toxic towards each other and just going back and forth. But where we left off in part 2 is where Project finds out that Cordell was in cahoots with Kelsey, and they snitched on him and set him up to go to jail because Cordell was a hater and didn't want to work for his own spot and was hating on his cousin. So I thought he shot and killed. I'm like, good, because I can't stand no snitch, honey. Ooh. You would think I was Nino Brown, because the way Nino was a snitch. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do it. I cannot mess with snitches. I think I'm a drug queen in my head. So I was disgusted. I was like, yes, kill him. But he actually just shot him in the shoulder and kicked him out the Airbnb and told him he had to find his own way back home from Atlanta. And Bo and Sneak, they came out the back like, what you shooting for? And when they find out that it was Cordell instead of them, they was ready to kill him too, because the word around the hood was that it was them two that was snitching. And it's like, never. We standing 10 toes down behind our man, which is so fucked up, ain't it? It's like people that you meet out on the street will have your back better than family. And so then we mosey on over back to Joy's house, and where Loriana wants to know why is he there. Because it's like, nigga, I know this ain't your baby. I know this ain't your baby. And it's not. It's actually his brother's, Shamari's. And so she's like, whew, because I thought I was going to have to beat your ass, pregnant or not. And I feel like Loriana would have been like, I'm going to tell my real nigga on you, and it's over for you too. But, like, whew, wipe sweat off her brow. And Loriana and Project, like I said, it's a lot of back and forth being toxic. Because they play the game of we not together, but we kind of are, because I love you and you'll always belong to me, but I'm doing me at the same time, so I'm not going to tie myself down to you. And, Loriana is still seeing Samir with, while Projects is introduced to Rain through Yari. And I think I've said this before. I'm one of those people, like, I don't want to hear about you with another person when I have my heart set on, like, the couple I was introduced to making it together through the years. So I'm just like, who is this bitch Rain? I don't care nothing about her. I don't care what she look. Just being real petty. Like, no, she's not my girl Loriana, so I don't give a fuck. And then this trifling hoe got a man anyway, but still being trifling. Like, she got a man, but she not happy. And instead of ending that situation, she just gonna mess with Projects for the time being. Like, she don't see it going nowhere. And that's supposed to make her like the cool chick. It's like, no, bitch. Fuck you. So, one day while Samir and Loriana are having a conversation, he brings up marriage and kids and asks her, if she wants any of that. And she tells him yes, but no time soon. Because it's the same thing she told Projects. Like, fam, where is she at this time? She's 21. I'm not looking to do none of that. Like, I am just trying to enjoy life and relax. Like, y'all just trying to make me a wife and barefoot and pregnant, and your girl's not going. And she has goals to achieve. She's a writer for the magazine. She loves music. It's just like, no, y'all not finna tie me down right now. Ain't gonna tie me down. Hey. Okay, my bad. And so he's like, yeah, so you got a birthday? Like, he switches the conversation, trying to make it seem like that's something that he put in his mind for later. And he mentions, like, yeah, you got a birthday coming up real soon, which I think is, like, the next week. And she's like, yeah, I want, like, a dinner or something like that. And Samir and Mael, like, they work together and set it up for her birthday. It's real nice. And for some reason, Samir took that conversation that they had as a hint to propose to her at her birthday dinner. And, of course, Project shows up. Who was it? Laurent and his girlfriend show. Like, basically, they little friend group shows up. And Project, like, he embarrasses the man. I was trying to find a better way to say it, but there is no way. He laughing at the man, tell him he might as well get up because she ain't going to accept. All the while thinking in his head, like, let her accept this and I'm going to act a fucking fool up in this motherfucker. But, of course, she tells him no, because it's like, not even for Project's sake. It's like, nigga, less than 7 days ago, I told you that was not in my plans right now. So I don't understand why you would do this. And excuse me, she's thinking to herself, like, Why wouldn't you do this in private? And I be thinking that too. I'm like, don't propose to me in public, because if I ever do get proposed to, I want that to be something between us. And then if I don't want to say yes, it's not going to be an embarrassment, at least not a public embarrassment, because you might still be embarrassed between the two of us. But everybody else ain't got to know unless you tell them, because that's not something I would tell anybody. It's just like, actually, this shit never happened, so let's not talk about it. But it's like, you doing it out in public is almost forcing her to say yes, but she held true to her own, and said no. And so he shows up later and, wants to argue about it. And he's like, why would you embarrass me like that? And, basically trying to put the fault off on her. And she basically has to tell him, it was never going to be you, my guy. Like, we was chilling. We weren't even in a relationship. So why would you think us just... But you know what, Loriana? Let me give you a little bit too, sis, because that's why I said, y'all not together. You don't really like him like that. Like, you barely hug the man. Y'all barely lay up and talk like that. But you was telling that nigga you loved him. So, yeah, y'all might not have been in a relationship or had the relationship title, but y'all was basically doing relationship shit. So the lines were crossed, but still, it's like, Samir, you clocked that too. You can tell when somebody into you and when they feeling you, and basically she was giving that nigga the cold shoulder unless he was giving her some dick, and that's all it is to it, like, point blank period. And so after she basically tells him, like, it was never going to be you, it was never going to be you, this caused him to go a little crazy, and he pulls up to her house, like, not banging on the door or nothing like that, but just pacing outside her door. And she has the Ring app, so she sees this nigga just pacing back in front of her door. So she calls Projects, saying, like, are you busy? I need you to come over. Like, this man is outside my door. I'm scared. And so at that time, he was having sex with Rain, but he immediately hops up, of course, because it's our girl. When she calls, he comes running, and he comes over. And so, of course, by the time he makes it there, like, as soon as he pulls up, Samir is pulling out of the park, like, he's running. And so he goes and comforts her a little bit, but when she's, like, hugged up on him, she smells Ray's perfume and kicks him out. And it's just like, but y'all not in a relationship either, so how are you upset about this? So we get a little bit of Mayel and Naz's relationship, which seems to be going great. Like, they rekindled their relationship, they're doing good. But she's back to flirting with an old flame, which I'm like, I will never understand it. I'm like, how do y'all be in these good-ass relationships? Things are going well. And because you see a fine nigga who flirt with you a little bit, you just ready to end everything that you have? Like, make it make sense. And so, things between Nas and Mayel take a turn for the worse when one day, like, after she's having mimosas with her friends, she sees the old nigga again, and, like, they flirting. And then when she hops in the car with Nas, and she's giving him head, the guy calls her. So the name appears on her phone, and he basically tells her, like, get up and explain why he's calling you. Like, why is this name on your phone right now? And she's like, she basically trying to play mind games with my guy Nas, because he's like, I know something ain't right. It's like, you did this shit before, now you doing it again, and you purposely, like, trying to mess up our relationship. And all she says is, I'm not trying to. Like, girl, yes you are. That's exactly what you're doing. So Nari is now entertaining this guy named Juice. She's even selling pills for him. So one night when she goes to make a sale, it's actually to an undercover cop, and when she's arrested, she calls her uncle, who is a cop in their city. I think he had to drive like 2 hours to come get her out of jail. And by the time she makes it back to her apartment, Juice is there, and he's pissed off to find out that her uncle is a cop. And it's like, why would you not tell me anything like this? And of course, she's trying to plead her case like, I would never do anything like that to you. I'm not trying to set you up. Like, this is just my family member. You can't be mad at me for that. And it's like, of course not. It's the fact that you withheld the information, girl. And he's a seller. And you have a family member that's a cop. Like, how does that look for him in the streets to know that he's messing with a girl who family member is the cops? Like, it seemed like he just trying to go to jail. Or he a snitch on the law or something. Like, girl, it don't look good. And you know that. You can understand it. That's why you kept it from him. But the thing was, she was set up to sell to an undercover cop because a student who she knows by the name of Maverick, his teammate was close to getting kicked off the team. And in order for that not to happen, Maverick had to sell out in the ring. So, she was basically going to take the fall for all of them so the cop's son could stay on the team and Maverick wouldn't get caught up in it because basically he was being framed too. So, Loriana runs into Akira at Target, who is now dating Keith because she couldn't have the married guy that she wanted, from the very beginning. And he is now in the middle of a divorce with his wife, who is taking him to the cleaners because it's like, I guess for some women, it's like, okay, nigga, you cheated, whatever. But a baby, that's what we not gonna do. So, yeah, you can have your baby, and I'll have your money. So, after Loriana goes with Mael to a business meeting, she sees this couple, and they're just so lovey-dovey, and it just makes her miss her man. So, she pulls up on Projects at the studio and walks in on him embracing Rain, who is pregnant. And before she shows up to talk to Project, Yari tells her to milk the situation, and tell Projects that it's his and get all she can until the truth come out. And I was like, see, that's how I knew that bitch was a real friend, like his best friend. I was like, how she just show up in book 2 talking about being a best friend, and then when it comes to a possibility of this girl who is your friend who's possibly pregnant, you telling her, girl, get that nigga for all the money that you can get. Just ride this issue. I'm like, bitch, knew I couldn't stand that hoe from the start. And Rain is looking at her crazy too, like, but I thought this was your best friend. So it's like, girl, I don't know if I'm gonna tell you anything else because you looking real shady in the light. Because whether I'm your friend or not, if I see you doing another person that's supposed to be your friend dirty, that's not your relationship, like that person looking out for you and you basically looking out for yourself and being grimy to them, it's a wrap. So excuse me, Loriana pays Rain dust. Like, she's trying to be nice, like, hey, how you doing, Loriana? Like, bitch, why is you here? Why is you hugging my man? Please leave. And after Rain leaves, she confesses her feelings to Projects because, like I said, after seeing that couple with the vending machines, like seeing them embrace, she's tired of playing. And she tells Projects, I love you, I never stopped, and it has never wavered. Even when you piss me off, I'm still yours. My entire heart belongs to you. It has since I was 18, and I can't see my life without you in it. I don't want to be without you. The love we share is unmatched. You're so selfless. It makes me feel so safe. I literally thank God for you every day. Whew. Because with you, I don't know how I would have made it. You've helped me grow into the woman I am today. I want you by my side. As I continue to navigate through this crazy world, I can't do this shit without you. And niggas, he was like, damn, them sound like some wedding vows. And it's like, it really did, but this is how I feel. Like, I'm tired of playing. We done did this back and forth. I had my nigga, you had that hoe that you was with. And let's pull over really quick, because when she was giving Rain like a little fever, he told her, cut that out. You ain't gotta be that way towards her. Like, Samir was all the bitch ass niggas in the world, pussy ass hoes, all that type of shit. And it's like, so you can talk about this nigga, but I can't talk about that bitch? Why? Because she's such a good girl. Like, nigga, do you know how you sound? And to my face. Like, you defending this hoe to my face, but I can't defend my nigga that I had to you? Yo, okay. Like, she didn't fight enough for me for that. I mean, he was a bitch ass nigga, but that don't, like, that hoe ain't all that either. Like, you fucking around with her knowing she got a man as well, but whatever. I was like, man, fuck that hoe. And also, he tells her that there's a possibility he has a baby on the way. And Loriana has a violent reaction. Like, first, I thought my girl was gonna be Red Fox, like, clutching her heart. I'm coming to meet you, Elizabeth. Like, my girl was going through it. And then, like, she takes off on this nigga, punching him and all this type of stuff. And for some reason, he's surprised by this reaction. It's like, yeah, we went through bullshit, but nigga, you know I love you. You kept trying to give me a baby. And although we was going through some bullshit, I never thought that you was out here hitting these hoes raw. Like, you going raw, my nigga? And of course, what's a nigga's explanation? I was drunk to the motherfucker and I don't know what happened. And like, whoop-de-whoop, whatever. So, of course, she like, nah, I can't. Which is true. I'm sorry. Even if we are on the... I'm not doing no break babies. Flat out. So it's just like, I don't care if we was on a break or we was doing our thing. Whatever. It's like, they kind of had that unspoken rule. Like, when we do have a baby, like, we're going to have a baby. No, not nobody else. And so he explains how he thought he was the father, but after a test, he's cleared and it belongs to Ray's boyfriend. And so after he finally gets her to calm down, because it's like, it's taking her a second, like, nigga, fuck you. I don't want to, like, fuck it. I guess this is the sign that we ain't supposed to be together. He like, man, if you don't sit your goofy ass down and shut up. So they finally agree to start over. And there's no more bringing up the past. And she tells him flat out, like, you are no longer going to bring up how I broke up with you and basically left you on your own while you were in jail. Like, it was fucked up how I did it, but I needed to do it for me. I needed to get my mental together. I needed to get my mind right. And, like, do not bring it up anymore. Don't bring up Samir. We not bringing up nothing. We are starting completely over. So with the new year, Cordell and Kelsey are killed because recently they just started to live careless and recklessly. They was robbing people, setting up people, basically moving like they wanted to die, and somebody helped them out. So there's no telling who killed them. So, but Projexs didn't. He agreed. I forgot to mention that. When they agreed to start over, Loriana made him promise to not go after Cordell. It's like, let his karma come to him, but don't let it be through you. You got too much going on. You know, like, the music shit is taking off. You got proper business now. Like, leave that nigga where he at and let it be. So, you know, like I said, everything is up from there. Their lives are going great. Project takes Loriana on a trip to Puerto Rico for Valentine's Day. Joy gives birth to a beautiful baby girl. And Projects and Laurent went from being Grammy nominated last year to being Grammy winners this year. And at first he wasn't going to give a speech because Projects like, man, y'all know I don't do all this talking. But he does. He thanks his mama, you know, the gang, the people in the room who made it possible. And saving the best for last, he says, L Boogie, this your award too, Mom. Thank you for everything. Always my muse and my motivation. My biggest cheerleader and critic. You're a real one. You don't ever have to wonder because it's always you for me. And it's like, oh. Loriana gets a raise from her job. And they go out to celebrate. And, you know, after they're done drinking and having fun, Loriana wants to go to the taco truck that Projects first took her to, like, way back in book one, like, when they first started hanging out, and he came and picked her up from the Reed's house. Like, she loves that taco truck. And someone walks up on them and pulls out a gun. Project and Sneak step in front of Loriana, because Sneak is, like, Project's bodyguard / driver now. Sneak is shot, and it turns out to be Project's aunt Moo, her ex. He shot him because he was jealous of move and sneak messing around, which nobody knew until the night that he got shot and was in the hospital. Because, like they said, like, that was our thing. That's not nobody's business. That's just for us. And it is time for Loriana's graduation again. Woo! But this time, of course, she actually walks the stage. And Project gifts her with a brand new Range Rover truck. And Laurent and his girlfriend give her a dog. So when she sees the dog, she says, what am I going to do with a dog and a baby? And everybody loses their shit except for Projects, because, of course, he knew. And they're at home, and he tells her, you know, like, they're just having a moment together. And he says, promise me one thing. Promise to keep loving a nigga even when shit gets hard. It ain't gonna always be easy, but I want you to remember the good days. And I was like, wow, that's powerful, because you got to think about it. Like, your relationship ain't gonna be great all the time, but as soon as y'all have an argument and it's a little bump in the road, don't just run for the hills. And I think she said something. No, I think that was just my thought process. Because, you know, people automatically, like, their first thought is cheating. And it's like, no, it's not always about cheating. It's just like, shit, I could feel like I'm bored with you and I really don't want to do this anymore. But it's like, okay, let's stick it through. But anyway, she tells him, I got you. And he says, I got you too, for life. I mean that. And that's the end of that book. Now, the Christmas book, I enjoyed that too. It was cute. It was really about her being close to delivering their baby. And they weren't telling anybody what they were having. You know, that was something shared between them until they actually have the baby. And they have one little bump in the road, which is Loriana did an interview with a local artist, but in that interview, he was being mad disrespectful. And so while he was saying like some crazy stuff to her, she ends the interview and tells him that it's never going to get out. Like, basically, it was a waste of time. But somehow it gets out, and she doesn't find out until she's like shopping with, I think it's Mael. She was shopping with Mael, and Project's assistant calls her and says, what is this interview? Like, what is happening? How did this get out? And she has no idea, and she never told Projects about it. Like, it happened, and because she thought it wasn't going to go out, she didn't say anything. So, of course, when it gets out and he hears about it, he's upset with her. So they're taking their holiday pictures, or I think maternity pictures. Yeah, I think it was maternity pictures. It's tension. And, of course, that's going to come across in the picture. So the photographer says something about her putting her hand on top of his, and she's like, I don't want to. And he's like, how the fuck you mad? I'm the one that should have an attitude. So, of course, her emotions because of her pregnancy are higher. So she walks off crying, and he goes back into the dressing room and tells her, you know, or asks, why didn't you tell me about that? You can literally FaceTime me, show me what you just cooked on a plate, like, just to show your face. You FaceTime me or call me for anything else. Why, when it's something that really matters, why would you not tell me? And I get it. She's like, I'm not trying to get you riled up in anything that could send you back to jail or anything like that. It's like, we out the hood. I wanted to stay that way. And he's like, man, ain't nobody going back to jail, so you could leave that jail talk alone. But when it comes to disrespecting my woman and my family, I'm going to always step. So get that out your head now. And the next time anybody does anything to disrespect you, I better be the first motherfucker you call. And she's like, you right. So Mael and Nas, like, they're still doing their back and forth thing, which is weird to me, because it's like the last time we left off, I thought for sure they had broke up, but they spending oh Lord, that sounds like criminal. They spending Christmas together, wearing matching PJs, and all this type of stuff. So I'm like, man, I don't know what y'all got going on. And then Juice and Nari, I don't know, it's just like everybody be looking for a reason to fuck up their relationship. And, you know, they trying to get out before they feelings can be hurt. Because Nari is hanging out with Juice. And they go to his mama house. And one of his messy ass sisters is like, some girl, Nelly was the girl name, said hit her up. Now this his old flame ex-girlfriend, whatever the hell she is. But it's just like, Nari like, who is that? And she's like, okay, cool, I got you. And she was like, he tells her, you know, you ain't got nothing to worry about. It ain't even that type of time, you know, let it go. And she's like, okay, cool. But just know, you don't want me to start doing me, so you better keep it cute. And he like, you know, what the fuck that's supposed to mean? We good. Like, why are you looking for a problem? And she's like, you know, I just know how this shit go. And it's just like, girl, it's not like that, though, so you don't have to be like that. So Loriana has her baby. They have a beautiful baby boy who's they named Prosper Emery, which I thought was cute. And the next Valentine's Day is a post, like he posts on Instagram that they're married. They had actually been married for 6 months already. But, you know, they were just announcing it to the world because they low-key with it. They don't like to put their business out there like that. So, that's it. Love and life, and they love each other, and they're together forever, which I thought was beautiful. I really enjoyed this series because, like I said, I don't do too much the high school books anymore because I feel like that's what this is. But it's a great young adult book. Like, for kids in high school, I think girls would really enjoy this book. And it's a great learning experience. So, yeah. Miss BriAnn Danae, I'll definitely be reading more from her. And I really enjoyed this series. I hope you guys did too. And I hope to see you back next week. We're jumping back into the Beloved series part 7, I believe. Or is it part 6? I'm not really sure. But anyway, peace and blessings, my beautiful people.